Hello, thank you for joining me. I am Glenn W. Worthington, and I am literally the guy who wrote the book on diamonds in Arkansas. Now, every other author, when they set out to write a chronological history of the events of the first diamonds found in Arkansas, they will always start with John W. Huddleston, an illiterate hog farmer that found the first diamonds in August of 1906. But when I started my book, I knew John Huddleston was the first white man to find a diamond in Arkansas, but I believe the Native Americans were finding diamonds a long time before the white man ever came along. And this diamond in particular, a 27.21 karat white Searcy Diamond. Tiffany and Company owns it now. It was found in 1926. 158 miles from the Crater of Diamond State Park, yet it's the second largest diamond ever found in the state of Arkansas. And I believe Native Americans found this jewel and traded it with other Native Americans up in White County near Searcy, Albion, Clay, up in there. And then the Indian was either buried with it or lost it or something. And a little 12-year-old girl found it while she was chopping cotton, which is hoeing cotton. And I'll tell you that whole story. It's fascinating. I love this story. The second largest diamond ever found in Arkansas. In another video, we'll do that. Also, what I didn't write in this book, because it's about genuine diamonds found in Arkansas, I believe there were other Arkansas diamonds, but found in northwest Louisiana. Just a short distance, I think it's like 120 miles south of the Crater of Diamonds is Bossier City, Louisiana, which is kind of like a suburb of Shreveport, Louisiana. And I believe Native Americans found it at what is now called the Crater of Diamond State Park and traded it with Indians down there. And again, it was either lost or buried, and then later a boy found it. So you got a girl finding a big one and a boy finding a big one. So I'll tell you that story too, because it's not in the book, but fascinating story. Well, let me say there was a great Native American presence in the area of the Crater of Diamond State Park for hundreds of years, longer than white man has been here. And I imagine they walked over the area that's now the Crater of Diamond State Park because it was right near the Little Missouri River, and there'd be game there. The deer would come down to get water, and they could fish there. And if you would walk from the search area at the Crater of Diamonds right across the Little Missouri River, which is right nearby, just on the other side of the river, there were several mounds at a great Native American village there. And of course, if you come to visit the Crater of Diamond State Park, go to the Kadoha Indian Village. It's open to the public. You can search for arrowheads there. And you can see the mound village where they used to live 500 years ago. So I want to show you some Native American artifacts that my wife Cindy and I found very near the Crater of Diamond State Park. And I'll show you a couple that were actually found in the state park. But these are some we found. Now, these are really rough, I admit, but it's just neat to find a rock that was fashioned by a Native American, chipped and used. That might have been a scraper. I mean, that wasn't an arrowhead, might be a scraper or something. And then Gary Point in here, and then this is one that's broken. Maybe they were starting to make an arrowhead and it broke, and said this didn't work, and they threw it out. Maybe it was never used. But anyway, just different parts and pieces, and maybe a drill or something. But this is fascinating. My wife Cindy found this very near, right across the river from the Crater of Diamond State Park, and this is an AG. The tip is broken off, but an intact AG is incredible. The craftsmanship, how the Native Americans were able to fashion something that tiny, I don't know, but it's absolutely beautiful. And if you think that is tiny, take a look at this chip. It is an absolutely brilliant work of art, great craftsmanship by the Native Americans. So my hat's off to them. And then this is probably a little drill they might have needed to put holes in leather to make moccasins or backpack or something else. But anyway, these are just a few of our finds from right across the river from Crater Diamond State Park. These were found outside the state park area. These also, there was several mounds in a village right across the river from the Crater Diamond State Park. And then just up the road from there seemed to be like a workshop where they sat and made arrowheads. And we found a lot of pieces of quartz crystals, and these are not naturally there. These were probably found in the Mount Ida Hot Springs area, or Jesseville even, and the Native Americans traded these shiny rocks, quartz crystal, and they wanted to make arrowheads out of them. Well, quartz crystal doesn't chip conchoidally like flint, like jaspers and chalcedony. So they had a hard time, and you think they were trying to chip that quartz because they thought, oh, it'd be great to have a beautiful arrowhead out of this clear quartz. And you can tell they worked on it, but didn't have much success. There are quartz crystal arrowheads, and I've seen some at Kadoha in their museum before, and also at a museum in Hot Springs. But then here's just some other points we found very near the Crater of Diamond State Park in southwest Arkansas. Now, these are little sweethearts, small, beautiful, from southwest Arkansas, Caddo origin, and these have been certified by Sam Johnson of Kadoha, and they say the age is between 800 and 1200 AD is when these were fashioned by the Native Americans, and just amazing craftsmanship. So anyway, it tells the whole description, and it's signed by Sam Johnson, and who's an expert on Indian artifacts at Kadoha. This piece, a friend of mine, he will remain unnamed, was digging at the Crater of Diamonds, digging and washing rocks and things, and he said, hey, that looks like an arrowhead. And so he kept it, washed it off, took it to Sam Johnson at Kadoha, and had him write a certificate on it. Was made between 4000 and 6000 BC. The others were AD, this is BC. So 4000 to 6000 BC. And I remember Sam Johnson commenting to the man who found this that it seems to have been a Native American knife, and it was one of this individual's favorite tools because he used it a lot and had to resharpen it a few times. See, it's not balanced and symmetrical because he used it so much and broke it on something, or it chipped or something, or it got dull and he had to sharpen it, and it's been resharpened and reused. So this got a lot of use. Now I would like to say that the rules at the Crater of Diamonds are that nothing man-made can be removed. And I believe, in my opinion, my interpretation of that rule is if you find a piece of metal from the old diamond recovery plant, leave that there. That is an artifact, testament to the mining days. But to me, this is not man-made. It is a rock, and we're allowed to take rocks out. It was maybe fashioned by a man, chipped later by a Native American, but to me, I would say you can take this home. But if you find a Native American artifact at the crater, just don't mention that you did, and take it home. When I was first digging and washing at the Crater of Diamonds State Park in 1978, I did a lot of my friends did their washing at the Pigpen area, and they would be scrubbing their screens, and they would find a lot of bird points in their screen, and these are what's considered bird points, these small ones. So they found quite a few, and my first experience with the Crater of Diamonds, I had been digging and washing and carrying buckets and sweating and working hard, 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, for 3 weeks and had not found a diamond yet, and was getting pretty discouraged. And I was coming up out of this deep hole I had, carrying this heavy bucket, and I sat it down. And I got another one. This guy was watching me, and I sat it down by the hole. And he bent over in between the two buckets, right where I'd been crawling in and out of this hole for weeks. And he reached down and went like this, and spread his fingers and picked up this huge, I don't know what you call it, spearhead or arrowhead or what, or an Indian knife. And he said, "Is this yours?" And I said, "No, it's not mine." I had not recognized it. I had been crawling over it for weeks, and I had blinders on. I was looking for something shiny and sparkly. I was looking for diamonds. And I thought, this is the end for me. If I can't find a little sparkly, if I can't recognize something bigger than that, how am I going to find a little sparkly diamond? But I persevered, and shortly after that I found my first diamond. There is a 21-point yellow, and the next day I found a 78-point yellow, 3/4 carat yellow, which my wife, who's running the camera right now, has it on her finger right now at this moment. Another friend of mine, digging and washing at the Crater of Diamonds State Park, I won't mention his name either, but he found this lovely arrowhead at the state park, which to me proves Native Americans spent time hunting at what we now call the Crater of Diamonds State Park. He also took it to Sam Johnson, who wrote a certificate and framed it, and then my friend gave this to me, as well as this friend gave this to me. But this is from 2000 to 3000 BC. So Native Americans were around a long time. This is a Gary point, and found at the Crater of Diamonds State Park. And I've often thought, since the Native Americans spent so much time at the Crater of Diamonds hunting and walking around, and they were probably looking for jaspers to pick up to fashion to make into arrowheads. They were looking for things to make into arrowheads, and they probably found diamonds when they were surface searching for rocks to make into bird points or into Gary points or into AGs or whatever. And in my mind, there's probably some Native American who just loved those shiny, pretty diamonds, natural, lustrous pebbles. And I pictured one of them, said, "Hey, I like these, I'm going to collect these," and picked up a bunch of them. And I always hoped and pictured that some Native American put them in a seed jar like this. This is a heavily restored Caddo seed jar that, they would normally keep like corn seed or some other seed in it for planting the next year. But this is an actual Caddo seed pot from Southwest Arkansas, and it's in our private collection. But I've thought, wouldn't it be neat if some Native American collected diamonds from what is now Crater of Diamonds State Park and put them in a seed pot, and when he passed away wanted them to be buried with him, and then somebody dug them up. That has not been found so far as I know, but digging by amateur archaeologists has been outlawed in recent decades, and it would have to be a university go into study to even dig any Caddo mounds anymore. So if a Native American was buried with a seed jar full of diamonds, it will probably remain buried there unless a university professor takes a bunch of his students out there to do archaeological dig. But I just wanted to show you, you can keep your eye open for Native American artifacts, and I just kind of wanted to make a point that the first white man found a diamond at the crater in August of 1906, but I imagine Native Americans were finding them for hundreds and maybe thousands of years before that.